Okay, so let's talk about the Mid-Atlantic Major NXL 2024 layout. So this, as always, is going to be part of a series, or I guess lately it's been part of a series. So this is just going to be going over the Dorito side. If you haven't watched the other videos, go ahead and do that. But these are first impressions. I just kind of looked at the layout, try to figure out what is it that could be maybe a stronger bunker, weaker bunker, what's something that you would want to watch out for, all that fun stuff. So remember, you might get out to the field and I am wrong about something, and that's okay. So just as a little caveat for that. So we're gonna start from the back of the field and then move our way up. So starting in this can here, these cross-field shots, I don't think that this is something that you're going to want to just focus on. The only exception that I would say is maybe this snake gap. There are some other bunkers that can see this entrance into the snake, and it is a double snake, and we'll get to that in the snake video. But to have eyes over here is going to be pretty important. So making sure that you have someone looking this way, this can is able to do that. So just as I wouldn't come here just to do that, but if no one is looking that way, this player is able to do that, as well as drop a shot into this, this Aztec over here. Now the inside shot shooting into this tower as well, it's not going to be a definite shot, but it's one of those things that maybe you can catch someone off guard if they're wrapping. And then on the wrap, shooting down the wire over the top of this, I think you're going to be able to thread it through these Doritos, through the tips of the Doritos, and shoot into your mirror. I don't think personally that this corner can is going to be all that important. The caveat being shooting into that snake gap, but I mean, there's really not a whole lot that it can do. I see this more as a transition bunker, maybe something that you use to dive around to change up your route, because there is going to be a lot of action happening on this Dorito side. Moving into the Dorito 1. So this Dorito, you can drop, I'm pretty sure, shoot, you're gonna have to stand up a little bit, but shoot a blind over the brick into that same Aztec. So story being, also, they can shoot that same shot back. So just make sure that you're watching out for those drop shots. The inside shot into that tower. And then you can wrap a little bit, shoot into this wing. And then also, I know this looks like it's shooting into nothing, but again, this is looking at the gap. So let's say that you've eliminated players down this side and there's someone further up the field. If you happen to stay there, it's not the end of the world, because then you can shoot into this gap and stop players from being able to get out wide, or at least have eyes that way to help your front player. The Dorito 2 is where things get a little bit better, which of course makes sense. Usually as you get closer and you get into the middle of the field, you're going to open up a lot more shots. The inside shot into, I'm going to call this a snake 2. I guess it'd be snake 1, 2, and 3. I don't know what that is going to be called, but the double snake, I don't know. We'll figure out a name for it in the other video. But yeah, so shooting into the snake, it's going to be pretty hard for this guy to stay alive if you are in here, just because they're going to have to tuck into this little corner right here. But again, caveat being that if they get there and you don't know, they're able to shoot into your back. So you're going to want to play this outside maybe a little bit more, with again being careful of players coming up into this wedge to wrap on you. But speaking of wrapping, this shot coming around, shooting into the tower and into the Aztec, I think it's going to be pretty good. You can also kind of thread through here into this can, and this is going to be a good transition bunker to move up, to make it where you can get into that wing and do some more damage, which we'll get into in a second. So yeah, so far we've looked at those bunkers, so let's go ahead and move up the field a little bit more. And things are definitely going to get spicy as you get closer. This wedge, I think, is going to be pretty useful. So if there is no one, if they haven't gotten past this Dorito 1 and you have a player that's trying to move up, getting into this wedge, you're able to shoot into this gap, the Dorito 1 and 2 gap. And the reason why this is good is that you can keep pressure on this player from being able to make the outside move. You won't be able to see the inside move, but hopefully there's someone that is able to look in this way and at least keep tabs on them trying to move up that. The other thing is that if they try to run your player down, excuse me, then you're going to be able to catch them a couple steps out. Also, if they do happen to make it through your lane, let's say that you have a marker issue or something, or you blow up paint, and they dive into this Dorito, you know that they're there. So you're able to have eyes that way, and this wedge is going to be pretty good for that. And also, you can see this other black line here, shooting into the Dorito corner. Again, it just stopping them from being able to move out, to make sure that you're able to stay dominant on that wire. The inside shots, this tower, of course, can get, it's going to get a little bit tighter. It's not going to be a definite shot, but they'd have to be hanging out. But that is a possibility, and then you are going to be able to get a decent shot into that Aztec over there. When you get into the 50 Dorito, and we'll just call this the 50 Dorito, that 50 wedge, that 50 wing, the inside shots, again, are good, but it's when you start wrapping that you're going to be able to get a lot better shots. The reason this break is here is because you have the same line going into the Dorito 2 as well as the Dorito corner. As you wrap, that's when you can start picking up on packs, loaders that might be sticking out, you know, things like that. So wrapping is going to be where most of your shots are coming in from, and it just helps protect you from the inside of the field when you can wrap that side. The other possibility is maybe even having two players, having one that's moved up into their wedge and you're on the opposite wedge, to have that wrap. Because once you get into their wedge, you can start picking up more on the inside shots as well as those wraps. So just being able to kind of double team, I think that's going to be your touchdown zone, is either the 50 wedge or the opposing team's wedge as well. Of course, because these Doritos are so close and you're going to have a hard time seeing the inside routes, know that if there are players here and you get up into their side, you're probably going to trade. Or they're going to come through, bunker you, and then hopefully someone else shoots them. But you could use that as a bait. You know, it's possible, but it's not something that I wouldn't want to necessarily go here off the break, just because there are ways that they can come up and bunker you out. So it'll be interesting to see where people go off the break. I think you're going to see stuff where people dive out and around to go up into the tower, taking the deep route, maybe going around and up into the Dorito 1, even inside out across into the Dorito. But it's going to be a fight. When I first looked at it, I didn't think that there was going to be a lot that was going to be able to shoot it. But there's a lot. There's a lot that can shoot into these gaps. So make sure that when you're playing this, that you're really checking off hard on these inside bunkers, and make sure that you watch the center and Dorito Side videos, because you're going to see that there are a lot of shots that come in this way. So it's not free reign to come down this side of the field. It's not going to be just you just take off and run. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be, I think, easier to make the runs out than it was in Texas, but the moves going up the field, yeah, those shots going across are pretty strong. So tell me what you think in the comments down below, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one, and remember, watch, learn, win. Thanks.